So yes, mindful consumption and the fifth mindfulness training, what we take in, which includes our food and the nutriments we put in our body. But the nutriments we put in our body also, beyond just the food, is the things that we watch, movies, TV shows, books that we read, conversations that we have. So sometimes we think, like, even if someone we're, talking to, and it's like, this is not, like, this doesn't feel good, this feels icky, then we have the responsibility and potentially the privilege or the power, and I don't mean power over or to be mean or anything, but just the empowerment to say, I'm just going to go over here, or I'm going to walk away because So, and then also I think I was also talking about the movies, the books, the films, the websites, the apps, right? Social media now is part of it, and video games, like because this continues to be updated. This mindfulness training continues to be updated from when I first learned about it to now, because all of the things we consume are beyond and have evolved. So it's what we put in front of us, and we have agency over choosing what we put in front of us, who we're with, what we watch, what we do. And sometimes we don't speak it up, right? We don't speak up our own preferences, or we don't speak up our own needs, because we feel like it's our job just to go along with it or serve everybody else, and it feels selfish if we're standing up for ourselves. But that's really part of the Dharma of this Kirtan that's coming together, that's coming up on December 4th. This keeps coming through. It's this idea that we often get in the position of diminishing ourselves, or self-effacing, or thinking we're not worthy of speaking up for ourselves, or getting what we need or want, or receiving the love that's offered, that we're not even worthy of that, or the compliment that's given. I mean, I'm saying this because I know, because I do that. I've done that, I do that. I'm trying to recover from doing that and stop doing that. And that's why I'm teaching this, because I need to learn it, and I want to teach everybody that I love, all of you, too, to be nice to yourself, talk nice to your hips, and and all of that stuff. And I try to say that with as much humility and love, because I do the same thing. So we go between these extremes of diminishing or self-effacing to up here self-aggrandizing or becoming egotistical or arrogant. And both of those places, both of those states come from the same thing, which is fear and insecurity. Because when you see someone who's being really arrogant, and not thinking about anyone else, and I think you all probably tune into that because you're with me, you have that sensitivity, and you're like, yeah, this person is, we see like people in the political sphere, or anybody who's causing harm, even like famous musicians. I remember back to when I was taking a women's studies course in college. I was just, what do you call it, where you don't take it, but you just observe it. So I did the work, but I didn't have to turn anything in. And we read this article about Miles Davis, who's an amazing, I guess, blues musician, right? If that's the right category I'm remembering for the music, jazz, blues. And apparently he, he was with Sister Lee Tyson, if I'm remembering this right, and he was very violent to her. He was domestically violent to her, beat her up. And it's like, now why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because someone who causes harm to someone, I'm not trying to justify that violence. It's not justifiable. And the way people act and we hurt, including me, when I'm stuck in my shadow and I do something yucky to someone, if I ever do something yucky to any of you, please tell me, okay? Because I want to repair it. But when I do something yucky to my family, right, I try to acknowledge and repair it and look into, where's that coming from? What am I doing? So anyway, hurt people hurt people. So when someone's acting all powerful and they're feeling fearful, and so sometimes that even turns into like domestic violence or bullying or other things like, war and political power and whatever, all that stuff. it's coming from the same place as self-effacement. And they don't want to be diminished. They're like, no, I'm not going to be diminished. I'm taking power, even though they don't feel powerful. Does that make sense? So it's not about, when I'm talking about this with the Dharma for this Kirtan, it's not about taking power over someone, and it's not about giving your power away, because we give our power away when we self-efface, when we diminish ourselves. We don't even just give our power away. We are not shining our light. We are not attuning to the gifts that we were given by God or the universe that come through us, that are in every cell of our body. Remember Ang Sang Wahe Guru? In every cell of your body, the infinite is vibrating, which is healing and sustaining to us. So, they come from that place. Can we come to the center where we feel empowered, where we know who we are, we know our light, we know our gifts, we don't shy away from sharing them with the world. And so part of that is, what I'm saying was, with the consumption that came up in our conversation, the mindful consumption of what we put in front of us with other people, and we notice who they are and how they are, and we have the empowerment and the agency to, if we're with someone who's doing one of those things, up or down, we have an understanding about it. If we feel solid enough in ourselves, we understand what's going on. And maybe we can leave a space for them. Maybe, right? And Judith Orloff writes this. I was reading her Thriving as an Empath, 365 Days. There's so many wonderful things in that book, daily meditations. And one of the things was, just let the other person be right. I was like, Or me, or for the other person would let me be right, right? Like, because sometimes I think that happens, right? Like, someone's just being gracious to me. Like, I pray for grace all the time, to be gracious for everyone. And I find that it's easier with some people than others, because the relationships are different, and the karma and everything between us is different. But so yeah, like, have that grace. Like, just let them say what they're gonna say. I don't have to get in there every time to be like my Libra self. That's not fair. That's not fair. You can't do that. So find your power. Be in your power. Even if you're letting someone else just have that moment. And if you're safe and you can withstand it, do that. But if you're like, no, I'm in my power, the clarity inside of me is saying, go away from this person. Change this relationship. Change this. Then do that. Know that you're valuable enough to do that. So know that you're valuable enough to do that with people and things outside of you that you consume. And then it's also the inside, though. That's the other part of it. Because we internalize these things, we internalize these messages, and then we carry them around, and then we behave from them. And so they become dangerous when they stay in the subconscious and the unconscious. So the work that we do, believe it or not, by doing yoga poses, by chanting mantra, by holding mudras with our hands, by walking out in the world, taking in the sun, listening to music, enjoying food that tastes amazing, being in the present moment to experience the conditions for happiness that are available to you right now, in the midst of your suffering. There's always conditions for happiness. Open up to receive the beautiful and healing elements that are around you, and let them penetrate you to hold you and sustain you through what you're dealing with. And then there's just moments of pure joy, where it's like, and sometimes you can be transported to a moment of pure joy, where you're not even thinking about that health test that you have to go back and repeat, or whatever it is, right? Like, just, how do you want to live your life? What do you want to do with this moment, with this day? And don't beat yourself up if you forget, and you're on that speed train through life that we get on, and it's like, okay, let me take a moment. Just keep coming back. Just keep coming back home. Coming back home with kindness and loveness, and love and compassion. So I'm going to share a little article with you when we start moving, in your poses, and it's from Thich Nhat Hanh, and it's called No Mud, No Lotus. It's one of my favorite calligraphies that I have of his. And I already shared another quote of the calligraphy with you just a moment ago as I was talking to you. But it's these things that we soak up and we say. Another one is, don't ignore your suffering, but don't forget to enjoy the wonders of life. We get stuck on one track or the other. And the thing is, so here's the short version of what I'm going to read to you. You might not like hearing this first part. You cannot have happiness without suffering. You might agree or disagree with that. And you might be like, no, that's not true. I don't want it to be true. I'll read the long version to you in a minute with this article. But Thich Nhat Hanh says, that's like asking to have the right hand without the left hand. And the right hand is, and we're saying, I'll read it in his words, I can't. But I'm hoping that's landing. Like, if we take away one, if we take away the left hand, what makes this a right hand? If we take away, you get it, you're shaking your head. If you take away the right hand, what makes this a left hand? So I could go on, because there's even like a psychological study that's coming to mind, but I won't do that. I won't do that right now. So, but it's just this thing of like our environment, the contrast that we feel. When we feel grief because we've loved so deeply, we've opened the channel and the gateway and our senses to be able to feel joy just as deep. So if you're like, why do I feel so sad? Because you have the capacity to feel that much joy. But if you're just letting yourself experience life here or think it should always just be this, then your amplitude for your sine curve and cosine curve is not as big in the positive and the negative. Absolute value. That's my math stuff. It's cool. Anyway, experience everything. Don't ignore your suffering, but don't forget to enjoy the wonders of life. The conditions for happiness are available for you in every moment. And I read you that mindfulness training, the second one, last week. Today, we're going to chant Purnamada Purnamadam to recognize that everything that happens in our life is complete, whole, and perfect. We come from that which is complete, whole, and perfect. We're made of that which is complete, whole, and perfect. The universe, the cosmos, God. We are complete, whole, and perfect. And even though we take from that which is complete, whole, and perfect, that doesn't take away from the complete, whole perfection that still exists. So that just popped in my head now about the fact that when someone's gone from you, and they're not here in this, lifetime anymore, their complete, whole perfection is still in you, around you, through you. And that's what I've been so thankful to keep connecting with as I talk to each one of you and your journeys with this, and keep feeling in the greater sense. So, Purnamada Purnamidam. So even our missteps, what we might call mistakes, Dana Fold says, are foundation stones to our life that made us who we are right now. If you remove a stone, if you remove something you did or didn't do, the wall crumbles. You are who you are because of everything you did, so no regrets. And the things we stepped through and we learned, we needed those things. We needed those things to evolve, to feel the contrast of coming to the other side and feeling the empowerment then and the way we want to step through things. So Purnamada Purnamidam, it's all for the good. And I know there are times in life where horrible things are happening, and no, we don't really want to acknowledge that or say that. But think about just even the good things that came out of any tragedy, our most current, pandemic, and things we've learned and how we've evolved for connection and communication and just so many ways. So not that we celebrate or making excuses or happy that horrible things happened, no. But we can choose to stay down from those horrible things, or we can choose to say, no, these horrible things will not happen again. We're not going to let that happen, and we're going to evolve and learn and become stronger because of them. And by the way, that's what you've done your whole life. That's what you've done your whole life. So keep honoring yourself and everything you've been through, and all the success you've had, and all of the things you've done has been amazing. And I'm not kidding. People look at you just like they look at the beautiful autumn leaves right now that are orange, red, yellow. They're at their peak, just about ready to let go, because they're in their full expression of their light, their gift, and their joy. And that's how we see You. That's how you are seen. I hope you know that. There are things that you do in your life for just being you, just walking through the door. Noreen, I'll say your name, just walking through the door is all you have to do. Just logging on, you guys at home. And then beyond that, all of who you are is that light that we benefit from and are sustained by. You bring that. Keep bringing it. Just keep being you. We need you. Don't diminish. Purnamanda Purnamidam. Free in your love, the love of God, the love of the universe, the love of yourself. Fall in love with yourself enough to be empowered, to not diminish or aggrandize. Just be you. Fall in love with yourself. Do yours, not anybody else's. And don't diminish when you see how wonderful that person can do something that you can't do and say, I can't do that. Wow, I guess I suck. Might be the thing that comes after that. Nope. No, that's theirs to do. Celebrate it. That's called Maitri, happiness for others. Be happy for them and be happy and compassionate for you. Free in your own love, free in the love that people are giving you that you might resist. So take it in, and free in the love of God and the universe. You are welcome to bring your hands to hold your heart if you feel like you want to be held, to bring your body and mind together in Anjali Mudra, to make a lotus flower because out of the mud the lotus comes, and that is your light and your gifts, or even just to open up to receive and to shine this knowing of who you are and what you are, and take it in and feel it. So take your seat the way you would like, feeling the ground beneath you, feeling the sky above you, feeling your breath come in and out. Feeling held and supported by Mother Earth, expanded and cleansed by your own breath. And taking a moment, if you'd like to form a prayer or an intention for today, you're welcome to do that now. We'll seal any prayers or intentions with the sound of Om. Take a deep breath in. Chant along, sing along when you're ready. Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudashate, Purnasya Purnamadaya. receive that knowing, that sense of you, that sense of all around you, in you and every being here, every creature here. There is light. And we keep coming from that place of light, keep returning back to the light, and honoring all of ourselves, our suffering and our happiness. When you're ready, you can